so this should be our last video, although I'll probably need to update this one here soon. But yep, so this is daily reports. The one thing I'm not going to be able to add to this is Opus. Opus is where we get our transient numbers, our counts, stuff here. There's a few other things, but yeah, it's kind of the main thing. But I do have one of the reports. So for today, we're going to be working on the 30th, and I'll show you how I get these numbers. So yeah, basically though, when you get into Opus, you're going to pull this report, you're going to format it like so, and then these are the numbers you're going to plug in over here. So, and this day has a little bit of everything. The only thing it doesn't really have is event paperwork. For that, as long as you set up the event paperwork correctly, which I can go over later, yeah, you should be fine. But yep, so this is what you're going to start with. This is the DDR. As you can see, it's got every day in here. And at the end of the month, you've got our totals. So, yep. Yeah, this report, it's the king of everything. As long as you get this report correct, and this should be your main focus on getting correct, you'll then use this for other things as well. So, but yeah, just start off this page. I made kind of a little custom page. If you need to, if you're kind of wondering how I set it up, this is probably a good place to start. This kind of shows you, you're going to use OPIT for these transient numbers. For events, you're going to use paperwork you create. ParkWiz, the state gets ACHs or wires, and they'll give you those numbers, and it should be around the 5th of every month. White River gets checks, and they kind of come in around the middle of the month, I believe, middle to late month. But yeah. Validations, it could be check, or it could be you'll run it through Opus. I guess I could put that on there, but yeah, let's do this. Check / Opus. And then the lock, check / converge. Yeah. And then for violations, we don't do any for the state. For White River, we have our ticketing site that I have one of the videos on. And for refunds, Opus for everything except for refunds, converge. So. Yeah, cash deposits are pretty simple. I just put them in here. Typically, for the state, it doesn't really matter, but for White River, a few checks that are all for monthly. I should probably put this here too. Let's put that there. And then this would be converge. But yeah, say I get 3 checks for monthly, I'll probably group them together, deposit 1, and then a few other checks for validations. I put them here. Third, for violation, yeah. So I'll put them here. So I try and group them as best I can. And then say I had, 3 deposits here, I should have 3 check stubs to show for that later on in the paperwork. So, but yeah, this aspect, it doesn't really matter. When I go to balance at the end of the month, I don't even look at these. I look at all the credit cards and whatnot, since these can be kind of skewed, especially when you get checks for, you could get 1 check that's for monthly and validations, so if you want, you can make it to where, deposit 1's all, event money, deposit 2's all monthly, deposit 3's all, validations, so on, but I don't really use that much, and it's kind of hard for us to look at cash deposits. Like, I can't pull a report that shows all of our cash deposits, more of what our clients do. But yeah, down here for credit cards, we can. So yeah, I'd always kind of group it like I've got here. So deposit 1's all event credit card or the tablets. You get converge down here for monthly and validations. And deposit 2, this is mainly for you got like a 54. This is usually where I put the State Department of Health's payment. I'll put it here. Yeah, and then our tickets I got here in the 2nd spot. So yeah, it just like I said, whenever you're pulling credit card totals at the end of the month, just having these set up properly just makes it a lot easier. So, but all right, well, let's get started here. So I've already got the 30th filled out, but I'm going to go show you the process. So the first thing I start with are the transient counts. So from here, for lots 51 through 54, or the state garages and the White River Garage, you go through Opus. I said I'll have another video on this when I get back in. But basically, you're going to be setting a time from 4:30 a.m. to 4:29 a.m. the next day, because that's when the processor settles. But here soon, we could have it going back to midnight, which means we get all our old reports back, or we'd have to start having the time go from midnight to 11:59 p.m. So that's why this video might get updated later. But anyway, let's begin. So once you go through Opus, set all the times correctly, pull the Excel report, make sure before you actually put it into Excel, you sort it by the LK number or the machine numbers, and you will get something that looks like this, except without the, it's not going to have these or the totals here. That's something you'll have to do. But yeah, so first thing I start out with is adding WSG, SAG, Northlot, WSP, coloring it like so, and then that's going to make this part a little easier. So once you've got these entered, you'll just go through the LK numbers. I've got them memorized, but for those that don't know, I've got a spreadsheet that has these as well. But typically Opus does a really great job of keeping all of Washington's together, Northlot and White River. The only one that sometimes gets split up whenever we run our tablets, Senate gets mixed up. So you'll have a group here, then you'll have a little bit of the Northlot here, and then you'll get hit with some tablets, and then down at the bottom, I believe that's when the last part of Senate will be. That's why it's always good to kind of color code them, and then whoever's auditing, they can go through and double check like this as well. So, but yeah, once you've got all the, you've matched the LK numbers, and you've color coded everything correctly, we're actually going to add. So what we're going to do is right below, I'm going to add all of these. If it says no charge, that's fine, because it's going to be adding a 0. It's not going to affect the total. But if you ever get any declines, if you ever get any of these service codes, make sure to skip those. The one weird thing is if you see a void, which I don't have on here, so say this one's a void, you're going to skip the 40, and then you're going to skip another 40. Because basically what happens is they paid, and then, I refunded it on the same day. So it cancels each other out. So that's why if you ever see a void, you got to make sure whatever the void amount is, you skip another amount of the same. Or you can actually search them by the last card number. That's right here. You could find the exact one. Make sure to skip that as well. But when all we're doing is just grabbing numbers, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, like I said, no charges. You can add those. Like I said, as soon as you're adding all these, it's a 0. It's not going to affect anything. But anything else, like I said, service code, declined, you skip, voids, you skip, and another one of the exact amount. So that's where you get these numbers here. As you can see in this, I've added everything except for the 2 service codes. And then I get this number here. So when we go back to our spreadsheet, you'll see 805 and 55. So I got for Washington Street and Senate. There wasn't anything on the Northlot, or else it'd be in green. So that's why there's nothing here. And then for White River, 1282. That's this number here. We pulled the machine, so that's why I've got this additional. It's always nice to have this breakdown as well. Let's say someone's looking, it's like, oh, for credit cards, you're going at 1282. Why do you have 3614? Well, that's because we had this cash down here that was transient. So any cash we pull from the machines, you add that to the credit card transient as well. So. Yeah, last thing is to get the count numbers. Our normal reports that broke a while ago, it give you these numbers that you need, and then they have a count as well. We have to do it a little manually. So what you're going to do is click on the last one. It's 38.8. You'll actually add 1 to that, so it's 39. Then you subtract any and all messages, and then 2 for voids. So before, when we're adding the total dollar amount, we could include this no charge, but when we're looking for actual count numbers, you want to not include the no charge. So let me say it one more time. you're going to disregard any message here, and then if it's a void, you're going to add an extra to it. So we've got 38 here. We're going to add 1, 39, subtract 1, 38, and then subtract the last one. So that gives you 34. So you go back here. That's where we get 34. So move to Senate. Yeah, I'll just count this one. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we got a 4 here. And then for White River, oops. So you've got 116 plus 1, 117, 116, 115, 114. 114 minus 43 gives the 71. At least I hope. I don't feel like doing the math on that, but well, I guess I can. Yeah, so it's 117, 16, 15. So equals 114 minus the 43, and that gives us our 71. So yeah. So that's how you get lots 51 through 54, their transient numbers and their counts. Next thing we're going to do is move on to the lot. So let's bring this up. Let's extend that. We'll need you later. So this is where we come to the Calais. Let's see if I got it right. Cool. So yep, for lot 55 transient, we need to use Flowbird, or Calais as they were called until about a month ago. So once you get on this screen, you're going to go to card transactions, end of day list, and then just select the date, starting date. It should already be set up for midnight to 11:59 p.m. But every now and then it's good to go in, double check, just make sure nothing funky happens. So I've had it happen once or twice where the dates went from like 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. so you wouldn't pull any data. That's kind of hard, or that's pretty easy to figure out. But yeah, I always just go through, double check every now and then. So once you hit apply, you're going to get your total numbers here. So 594 and 58. 594, and once again, it was the last day of the month, so I pulled the cash. We got 594 and 58. Just make sure you're pulling these total numbers and not these over here. So one other thing you can do, so say you wanted to check the whole month, make sure that's the 1st through the 30th, go down your summary, and then you'll grab this total number here, 29484. Why there's 50 cents, it kind of blew my mind too, I don't know, but yeah, I guess it happened. But yeah, 29484 for the totals. 29484. I said this is one of the areas where you can double check using that. So yep, so once you get those numbers put in, we will move to the next section. That is to check violations and tickets. So once you get on here, you're going to go to reports, collections, and count date, or payment count by date. So once you get in here, select your date. It already kind of does the midnight to midnight thing. Just make sure it's PDF so you can print it off easier. And then we got on here, we've got 3 $25 a piece for 75. So we got 75. This is one where we had 50 in credit cards and 25 as a check that I put in. So I think I actually, yeah, put that in on the 30th. So yep, so make sure whichever, it doesn't matter which cash deposit you have put in, just make sure on the credit card this is yeah, deposit 2 is tickets, and then for deposit 1 that is Converge. So we'll get to here in just a second. So yeah, so that is good. So we move on to the next one. This next one I don't personally do because I do all of the Converge transactions. Let me pull this up real quick. To add it. Oh. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, like I said, if you aren't used to the process yet, or if you're not the only one that could be running Converge transactions, I'd pull it every day. Since I'm the only one that does it at the moment, you know, I don't really need to, but it's just good practice to get into. So, yeah, once you get into Converge, select terminal, click on the lot, never hit the garage, settled batches, click on the month you need, boom. So, oh yeah, sorry, it is October, but I need September. But yeah, it looks like on the 30th, we had one sale. This was a bus lane parking for 3 days, so that's where you get the $240. And then we had a refund 40. That's put in here. So 240, 40. And since these are both Converge, 240 minus 40 gives us this 200 over here. So typically though, whenever you run a transaction, you print that off. So I'll give you an example here. Download the receipt, boom. So yeah, whenever I run, you know, 9 times out of 10, the person is going to want a receipt. So just save a copy, send them one, and then print one off for yourself. So, yep. So that is that. Let's see, what is next? So we've got our transient and our count data over here. We've got our Converge, we've got our tickets. We did get some checks, so we got like a check for 6,500 plus 100 that were monthly. So the deposits go here. Yeah, just make sure these match. And then we had cash from the machines. Those go into transient. So always make sure you put them in the correct lot. And then yeah, we had some other checks for validations as well. And I'll get to what those look like here in a little bit too. So exactly what the paperwork will look like. But yeah, last thing is, so this is all information we pulled from the machines or Opus. Those are machine reports. Well, we have to make sure that is correct by checking what the credit card deposits are. So where do we get these numbers? That is where we where we need to go to the IQ reports. So IQ reports are a little new, but pretty easy. The only problem is they don't break it apart for the state garage. It's all in lump sums. So when you first log in, this screen you'll see, there's a few kind of cool things. You go into like disputes and stuff like that. But really all we're going to do is go to reports and statements and then click on reports. And then you'll want to click an entity. So the first one we're going to do is IDOA. So this is for the state garages. You got White River, and then these are for our old WorldPay credit card machines for the state, which shouldn't be used unless we have an emergency. So, but yeah, we're going to start with the state. I'm going to select, and then this always, and I think it's because it settles at 4:30 a.m. the next day. You want to click the next day than what you want. So say we're trying to find information for the 30th. We are actually going to pull the 1st. So we're going to go in here, get reports. And then the report we want is MD600. MD601 I used to use. That'll actually break it down per terminal, which is kind of nice. But if we're pulling Opus reports already, it's kind of, you don't really need it. So, yep. So you're going to click MD600, click download. And then we're going to change it to White River, get reports. And then 600, download. And these take a few minutes, especially if you pull these 601 reports, you're looking at 5 to 10 minutes. 600 nowadays takes about a minute or two. I just keep refreshing the page. Now once it's done, you'll go to files here. And I've actually, all right, this is for, I was doing the 2nd of October's, and then just to get these ready, I pulled them here. It should be state and then White River. Although I'm a doofus and pulled them in opposite orders today. So this first one should be the state. So we'll do that. You can't see it over here, but yep. Over here, keeps going on my second monitor. And then this 860 should be a total of all these state facilities. So we had 860, which equals 805 plus 55. And then I'd write here lot 51, 0, lot 52, 805, lot 53, 55. Yeah. And now, get rid of that. Now we need White Rivers. So I'm gonna do the same process. Let's open the correct page this time. And then, yeah, so it's 1282. Never look at this right number. I almost forgot that. It's always this left number here. This right number is Visa MasterCards. It does not include American Express. So yeah, always take this number right here. Okay, so we got 1282. That 1282 is going to match our credit card 1282 here. And then that's it. So for today, yeah, as far as credit card goes, kind of where to put some of the deposits. That's how you do it. The next thing is to send that to corporate, and then after that you need to send corporate your backups. So let's get out of these. So that is RMS, so Revenue Management System. So once you get in here, you're going to go to Daily Activity, and this is where you need your DDR to be completely accurate. So any mistakes on here, you're going to enter incorrectly into RMS, and you know the auditors will be like, hey, I got this amount in deposits, but you're only recording this. What's going on? Yeah, so for this, I'm trying to think the best way to do this. You know, I'll go through the third. I can't even do the third yet, really, but yeah, we're gonna enter the 30th of September into October 3rd. Just kind of show you what it looks like. But yeah, so you're kind of gonna go top down here. One thing I should have said at the beginning of the video, this top section, these right here, this is what we're supposed to have. This shouldn't be what we actually have, but what we're supposed to have. And then that's where your credit card, or sorry, your cash, and then your credit card deposits should add up to that. And if there's any difference, you'll see in the overshort. So just a quick little example. Like I said, I should do this at the beginning of the video. But say we sold 10 tickets for $10 a piece for $100. Well, what happens if we got 80 in cash, but 30 in credit card? As you see, that adds up to 110 instead of 100. That gives us our 10 over here. So if it was 80 and 20, obviously we wouldn't have any overshorts or anything like that. But yeah, so yeah, just remember, like, this is what we're supposed to have. Say the machines were off. Machine said we're supposed to have 805 and 55, but the deposits add up, you know, there was an extra one add up to, like, you know, it was 860, so I added 870. You're gonna have that $10 overage as well. So yeah, just keep that in mind. That'll be the same for the paperwork too. So nope. Alrighty. So now it's time to enter RMS. You go on to daily activity. We have anything for 51, so we're gonna move on to 52. And that's it. Just remember, this is supposed to be the 30th, but I've already entered that, and they're basically closing out the month 30. So, so yeah, pretend this is the first. So for 52, we're just gonna go across the board here. All we had was 805 in transit for 34. So we'll put 805 and 34. If you have any monthly event, ParkWiz, all that, that's where you'd add that here. But just remember, you're adding below. So say you had a validation revenue, you wouldn't put it here, you'd actually put it down here. So it's actually got me quite a few times when I first started. But yeah, once you've got that, you're gonna hit submit. It's like, okay, are you sure? Hit submit. Now we're gonna move on to 53. For 53 is 55 on 4. You can actually just hit enter. We're gonna submit that. 54. This one we had a lot, so we had 3614. That was what, 71? Yeah, 71. And we had monthly was 6600. And this should be, you just divide by 100, unless there's something special. The state actually, they have a $50 pass and a $20 pass. You have to manually go through and look at it, but White River is pretty easy. So no event revenue, no ParkWiz. I believe we had validation 425. For this, if it's Center Plate or State Museum, all theirs are $5, so you can just divide by 5, which is what, 205. Or, am I drawing a blank here? It'd be 45. Blech. So yeah, 400. Why am I drawing a blank here? 15, 24, 60, 80, 85. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. The next thing on the list, we have nothing, so we're good to go ahead and submit that. And then on to 55. Or 55, 34, 18. Nope. 58. That's why it's good to have 2 monitors. I don't have to Alt-Tab over there. Let's see, for validation it was 240, and that's for a bus lane for 3 days, so I'll just make it 3. Violation, we had 3 at 75, and then we had a refund for 40. And then if you had any overshorts, I'll usually add it down here. So, yep, we're gonna go ahead and submit that. Now that all of the top column is done, it's time to move on to the second. So this is where things can get a little tricky. Just making sure what kind of deposit they are. So for deposits, you're gonna leave it on the day that you're submitting, and then the day of the deposit will always be the next day. So this is the September 30th. We're going to put it on the 1st, but since we're working on the 3rd, we're actually going to put it on the 4th. So for deposit ID, it's the company ID number, which is 68 dash, and then the lot number. So we go on here. There's nothing for 51, 52, 53, but we do have one for 54. So 61 dash 54. We're going to go over here and grab the totals, 93.57. The deposit types where people are going to get tripped up. Let me go ahead and put this in the DDR. So, accounts receivable. Pretty sure it is. So, all state is accounts receivable. And then this is, since we handle the cash, bada boom, and then I'll put this over here for credit cards, credit card, and Visa, MasterCard. So yep, whenever you're doing the deposit types, this is the guide you need to follow. Every now and then you get a weird situation where it's something different, but 99% of the time, this is it. So since we only got cash deposits for White River, we just leave this as cash checks, and then make sure you get the right deposit. It doesn't matter if it's the top one, bottom one, over here. None of that should matter, but I usually just use the very first one for each lot. So 93.57, we'll put that in. Boom, it's saved. You can do a few things here after this. Since I'm kind of comfortable with this, I can just delete this. Nope. Brought up the. That's not good. I was looking for that shortcut earlier. I got it on accident. Anyway, so for me, I can just delete this. We'll go to the next one, which is 55. Nice, so you're just moving down the list here. Cash checks. This is 28.49. 49. Hit enter. When you see it kind of reload, you know it's saved. If you want to make sure you're putting in the right deposits, you can just, each time you enter deposit, just hit the deposit tab, and boom, it'll show you what you got so far. So, yep. So that is it for cash checks. We're going to move on to credit card. So the first 4 lots are AR credit card or accounts receivable credit card, since we don't handle the credit card sides except for the lot. That's why a lot down here is Visa, MasterCard. So we didn't have anything for 51, so we'll go 52. This is 805. 805, enter. Does it not like when I switch this up? Do I have to keep redoing this now? 52, 805, and 805. Enter. Oh, I'm gonna do this. That's why it's just so much faster to keep an enter than just clear your totals. So 53 should be 55, 55, and 54. We had 1282, 1282. 2, I said. And then this one is 844, Visa MasterCard. All right, everything should be good. Just to have some fun, we're gonna make it off by a little bit. Now, once you think you've got the daily activity and deposits done, we move on to summary. Oh no, it's off by the one I put in. So yeah, if you're off, it'll show you where exactly you're off at, and it won't let you post. So, and corporate can't actually, I don't think they can actually see any of this until you post. So if you're worried, it's like, oh, someone saw a mistake or something like that, it shouldn't be here. So, but yep. Just delete that extra one. Typically, though, it's going to be in this deposit. So if I added that, say I added 845 instead of 844, show up on here, but it would give you that -1 or +1 or whatever. So, but yep, once everything adds up, you can hit post to General Ledger. You can delete what, like I just did, or let's say I added 845 instead of an 844 and a $1 deposit. You should go in here and change the amount. So. Then once you change the amount, you just hit update, or like I'm going to do, I'm going to hit cancel. So, yep, I just go through, especially when you're first learning, just make sure, you know, you got transient here for 52, that number matches, go through, make sure that match, yeah. And then the other big thing is making sure, you know, lots 51 through 53, it's accounts receivable for cash and checks. White River is just cash and checks for cash and checks, which is easy. For lots 51 through 54, credit cards are AR credit card, and lot 55 is Visa MasterCard. So, but yeah, once you're done, you just hit post to General Ledger, and voila, now corporate can see it. If you refresh, this should actually change to green, like so, and voila. But yeah, once you post, you can always go back and change it. Yeah, if our accountant saw this right now, she'd be like, what the heck is going on? Why does this match the 30th? So yeah, before she sees it, I'm going to go ahead and delete everything. Like so. And see, like I can't post again until it's balanced. So hopefully it doesn't show the last thing I posted. That would be odd. But I don't think it does. Delete. Wish there was a delete all. That'd be awesome. I have to do all this. Yep. Once I am done with this, the last thing to do is to submit your paperwork to corporate. What I'm actually going to do is show you what the paperwork should look like, what kind of order to put it in, stuff like that first, and then where to submit it. I guess I have to go to where I submitted it first to pull because I don't have it saved on this computer, but yeah, so, and that is done. Just out of curiosity. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's it for RMS. Pretty simple. Just make sure you got the right totals in there. And if it says you can't post, well, you messed up. So, yep. Last thing is the portal. This is linked to my email, so we'd have to ask corporate to set someone up personally. But yeah, once you get in, it should look like this. You're gonna go to. Oh no, I need to I'm already in there. Let me change directories. Documents. Okay, so this is what it'll first look like. You're gonna go to 68. I said that's our company in Indianapolis number, and then revenue support. Click on the correct year and then the correct month. So Let me pull September 30th's paperwork. Where are you at? Here we go. All right. So that DDR we're working on, that is going to be right here. So it's going to be very first thing they see. Always had the top tilted to the left. So just make everything uniform throughout the months. You know, we're going to put all these together at the end of the month for the monthly report. So yeah, it just makes it look a lot better. But yeah, that way when corporate's looking at it, they'll see where our numbers come from. Okay, this is what we're supposed to have. These are our cash and credit card deposits. Any over shorts will be over here. And then after that page, that's where you put in any cash deposits. So these are the 5 cash deposits that I had for White River and the surface lot. Just make sure you always put in what it's for. That way they can go in and kind of match. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, this one I had 2 checks, both for validations. So I put validations on there. Why I put event, I don't know. But yeah, next one I had 2 checks for monthly, 6,600. That's where you get this deposit to, 6,600. The third one was violations, 25. So that's why you get this loan or this $25 deposit plus the 50 credit cards for ticketing, and yeah, it balances out with the 75. So then we got 2 more. These were for the pay stations that go into transient, but yeah. So 54 tran, 2332 plus 1282. That gives you that 3614, and then same for 55. Here are the credit card deposit reports. So it goes cash reports and then credit card reports. Typically, I do state facilities first, and then White River, and then the same for credit card deposits. But yeah, yep. So as you can see, for the DDR, we had it was 805 for lot 52 and 55 for lot 53, 52, 53, and 0 for 51. And the second report 54. Obviously, you don't have to break it down. And then the next page is the Calais. So your credit cards on the surface lot at White River. After that's done, I will go with any handwritten paperwork. So cashier reports. I make one for the pay inputs. So for the ISM NCAA pay input, ISM had 1683, NCAA had 649. That's where you get this 232. And they have print off, so I include those as well. I meant to put this down at the bottom, but accidentally threw that in between. But the next one should be the White River surface lot transient. And you get the same thing here. This is the north kiosk 904, south kiosk 920, gives you that 1284 or 2824. And after that should be violations, but that's not too big a deal. But yep. And then after that, you get the pictures of all the checks. So there's one, there's another, there's another, yeah. This is from Converge, so someone paid for those 3 bus lanes or 3 days of a bus lane, so that would be 55 validations. And then we had a refund from Converge as well. So yeah, that's it for the paperwork. Like I said, it goes DDR first. Let me scroll back up. So it goes DDR first, cash deposits, credit card deposits, and try and put them in order 51 through 55. And then after that, you've got your deposit list. So this could be transient paperwork that I've got here. So cash pulled from the machines. So you'll include the receipts if you got those, or like event paperwork, stuff like that. And then after that, you got your violations. If you got checks, you'll scan picture the checks and then put them in the back as well. So yep, that's it. Once you've got that scanned and saved to the correct place, you're going to upload that and the Opus reports to here. So just go back one more time. So this is where you start documents. You go to 68 revenue support 2019. This was September, so we'll go here, and then once you're here, you click on these 3 little dots, upload file, find the file. Like I said, you have to upload the PDF of the paperwork first, and then after that you'll upload the Excel spreadsheet of Opus. So that's it. I know that was kind of long. But yeah, once you get the hang of it, especially if you just have credit card deposits, this is going to take you 10 to 20 minutes tops. Obviously, if you got to pull pay stations or event paperwork or whatnot, it's going to add a lot longer. But most days, especially since event season's done, credit cards, that's all you're pulling. I said 15, 20 minutes tops, and you'll be good. So, yep, that is it.